Alabama and Purdue tied at 80. Braden Smith going to work, gets his pocket pick, not so fast, hangs on to the ball, drives and lays it in. Improves to 82-80. Purdue goes on to get the win in this one as the layup goes. 87-80 is your final score. Smith finished with 29 points. He had 21 in the second half. He and Trey Kaufman-Ren combined for 48 as the Boilermakers improved to 3-0 on the season. Welcoming in CBS Sports senior college basketball writer and co-host of the Eye on College Basketball podcast, Matt Norlander. Matt, first of all, we got to talk about Purdue, Alabama. They went blow for blow in a high-scoring back-and-forth matchup, but it was Boilermakers who came out on top. What was the difference maker in this one?
The preseason National Player of the Year, Braden Smith, came out and had himself one heck of a game, even despite sitting for 6 minutes consecutively in the first half. He finishes with 29 points, 7 boards, and 4 assists, and just reaffirming his status as the most valuable player heading into the season. Obviously, we've talked a ton and will continue to talk a ton about so many of these dazzling one-and-done freshmen that are going to really increase the overall appeal of college basketball this season. But that guy on your screen right there, he does right now have an indisputable, and I mean when I say this, indisputable case right now as the most valuable player in all of college basketball. He was tremendous. It wasn't just him. There was Trey Kaufman-Ren, who we can get to in just a second, and he had some decent supporting cast around him. I thought Oscar Clough played really well as well, but Braden Smith, just a maestro, commands so much, made a number of heady plays down the stretch to get Purdue not just a win over Alabama, but the third straight win over Alabama in as many seasons. These schools have played 3 straight non-conference seasons and getting now the best win of the first 2 weeks of the season. Alabama previously had it when it just got a really impressive one against St. John's in the Garden last weekend, or you could say maybe Louisville beating Kentucky, but Louisville had that game on its home floor. Purdue went on the road against a top 10 team and came out with a clear-cut win, and it was all thanks to Braden Smith.
Absolutely. Braden Smith, great performance, including 21 points in the fourth quarter as Boilermakers got the win. But you mentioned TKR after dealing with hip and back injuries that kept him sidelined for the first 2 games. All Big Ten forward Trey Kaufman-Ren saw his first action of the season Thursday night. Wednesday, TKR said his expectations were simply to play. But how much of a difference maker was he for Purdue?
Oh, he was very significant. And, you know, having what I just said about Braden Smith, I want to add this. If Trey Kaufman-Ren wasn't available to play in this game, I think Alabama would have won. Kaufman-Ren came out of the gates looking like he was starving to play. He got banged up in the back end of the second half, but aside from that, he was all over the boards, a double-double, immediately an impact player there. I was really impressed. He had some really killer action on some short rolls that was able to give Purdue even more options and give Smith more to work with overall. So with Kaufman-Ren, and then I mentioned Clough, he's the transfer from South Dakota State. Boy, oh boy, does he fit in immediately with what Matt Painter is doing there. So big-time gains for Purdue. You can see the upcoming schedule. All of those quite obviously winnable games. You would think the toughest one might be Iowa State. I actually plan to be at that Rutgers game, by the way, on December 2nd to see this team in person. But the Kaufman-Ren Clough combo, they combined for 16 rebounds, by the way, to those two, and 27 points overall. Really impressive stuff for Matt Painter's team. And yeah, Purdue right now, it was the #1 ranked team last week. It didn't lose a game, and actually because of the way the votes were tallied, Purdue slipped to #2 this week behind Houston. You can make a case for either one, but it was a rare case where the #1 team didn't lose a game and lost its grip on the #1 ranking. We'll see if that flips by next Monday and if Purdue can reclaim that #1 spot.
Right, a lot of ball games left. And, you know, Matt, you mentioned Alabama. They just came off a big win over St. John's, losing a tough one here against Purdue. How do you view this Crimson Tide team moving forward?
Still like Alabama to be a top 3 team in the SEC. This is a tough loss at home. LeBaron Philon did not have the kind of impact that, frankly, I did expect him to have. We saw a way more consistent play out of Aiden Holloway. Latrell Wrightsell had some moments. But overall, you know, Bama let it slip away. And this is going to eat at Nate Oates a little bit here because he's had a good team 3 years in a row. Purdue's been good 3 years in a row, and Alabama's lost to Purdue 3 consecutive seasons. I love when we sync up here. I actually need to clarify the graphic on that screen though. So right now, Alabama's in the midst of a 6-game stretch against high major opponents because it played St. John's and just played Purdue. The next one you see Wednesday, that's in Chicago and Illinois, and then Gonzaga, that's in Vegas. I will be there. That's the Players era. It then has UNLV, and then there's one more game after that to be determined. That's going to be played on November 26th. that's also going to come against a high major opponent. So Alabama right now has the most grueling 6-game stretch in the non-con consecutively, I think, as any team will face overall. You saw the teams there, but according to KenPom, entering the night, Purdue was 5, Illinois is 4 at KenPom, and Gonzaga is number 3 at KenPom. So it's got 3 consecutive games against KenPom top 5 teams. Alabama almost definitely is going to take at least one more loss, but it could be a classic example of a team that's top 10 in quality, but the schedule is so difficult. Don't go thinking that this team isn't a Final Four contender if they can't get out of November with, say, at least 3 losses. That may well happen. Nate Oates has a lot of confidence in this team, and I think this team is built for the long haul this season. Should be one of the better offensive teams in the country, Madeline.
We're looking forward to watching them continue to roll. CBS Sports senior college basketball writer and co-host of the Eye on College Basketball podcast, Matt Norlander. Thanks so much for the insight. And for more from Matt, you want to check out the Eye on College Basketball podcast. Matt Norlander and Gary Parrish are breaking down everything you need to know from the college world. The Eye on College Basketball podcast. Download now and follow today.